How do you begin to get a scale of what was involved? I mentioned this morning on the radio, there was a day that changed our lives, 9/11, 2001. 3,000 people were killed in the worst terrorist attack of modern times. During the Holocaust, on average, 3,000 Jews were killed a day, every day of every week, of every month, for 5.5 years. It is almost unimaginable. And of course, Jews were not the only victims of the Holocaust. There were the Sinti and the Roma, the Gypsies as we call them. There were the gay men, there were the Jehovah's Witnesses, there were the physically and mentally handicapped, there were political prisoners. All of them murdered. That camp we saw the photo of just now, Auschwitz, in that one camp, there were many camps, in that one camp alone, 1.25 million people were murdered, many of them young children. But of course, it still continues to happen in Bosnia and Rwanda and Cambodia to this day, in Darfur. And the question we should ask ourselves is, how do these things happen? How do they begin? What on earth happens to make people capable of such things? I don't know that anyone knows the answer, but I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I share with you my answer. There were 4 factors. Number 1, there was a history of hate. People looked down on the people who are not like them. And the main minority in Europe for so many centuries were Jews, and therefore people looked down on Jews. Until the 19th century in Germany, Jews were kept in what are called ghettos. They were not allowed to live anyway except in one little place, all together, all crammed together in a ghetto surrounded by a wall. They weren't even allowed out of that prison, really, a living prison, except on specific times. On Sunday they weren't allowed to go out at all. Even in the 19th century, in parks in Germany, there was a sign, no dogs or Jews allowed. And so when the Nazis came to power in 1933, they built on a history of hate. We must never hate. The second factor was instability. Germany had lost in World War I. They had gone through terrible inflation. People had seen all the savings they built up suddenly devalued and worthless. And when life gets very complicated and we are buffeted by change, people do crazy things. The third factor is this. When there's a lot of stuff going on and we feel very confused, it is very easy for somebody to get up and blame a whole group of people. It's the fault of this group or that group. And that, of course, is exactly what Hitler did. He took all the problems of Germany and he said, you know, we're responsible for this, the Jews. The Jews were less than 2% of the population. They had nothing to do with any of these problems, but you should know that it is not difficult for somebody to persuade others that somebody else is to blame. And then the fourth factor, the really devastating, which is to dehumanize the people who are not like you. Jews were called lice, they were called vermin, they were called a cancer. And the same thing happened in Rwanda. The Hutus called the Tutsis inyenzi, which means cockroaches. You can kill a cockroach without guilt. The second you see human beings as less than human beings, then people can do terrible things to one another. And that is how it happened. It happened out of small beginnings. But there is something called chaos theory which tells us that small beginnings can have huge endings. You remember the story about how a butterfly beating its wings in the South Pacific and set in motion a chain of events that caused a tidal wave thousands of miles away. Big evils have small beginnings. But the opposite is also true. Small things can stand up against evil. Trudy was talking about the massacre, the extermination of Hungarian Jewry. That was right at the end of the war, in 1945. One man, a Swedish diplomat, not Jewish, called Raoul Wallenberg, who happened to be in Hungary at the time, was able, through his incredible efforts, to save thousands of Jews. One man, we don't know what happened to him after the war. But that man saved lives. Sir Nicholas Winter, a wonderful British individual, just at the very beginning of the war, organized what was called Kindertransport, a rescue of 10,000 Jewish children from Germany because of him. 10,000 people lived who otherwise would have died. Never underestimate what difference it makes. You can make a difference. All it needs is for you to stand up and say no. When you see people hate one another or have prejudice against groups of people because of their color or their religion or anything, stand up and say no. When you see somebody picking on somebody, bullying somebody, stand up and come to their defense. Big evils can come about through small beginnings, but so also can great good. Never say you can't make a difference. Shall I tell you a story? There was a French philosopher called Emmanuel Levinas. He was taken as a prisoner of war to Germany. He was Jewish. He didn't die. But after the war, he said, you know, the thing that got me most is that everyone around knew this was happening to us, and nobody gave us a look to tell us, you're human. They kind of pretended we didn't exist. He said, the only person I met, the only thing that I met in Germany who recognized me as a human being was a dog. It was a stray dog who wandered into the camp. And every day as they came back from their labor, the dog would wag its tail. And the dog was pleased to see us. He said, that dog gave me hope. That dog was a hero of Germany, the last human being in Germany, because he looked on me as if I were a human being. We can give other people hope. We can defend the defenseless. We can stand out against prejudice. There's no saying which, if any of you have seen or will see the film Schindler's List, you will hear said right at the end of it. It's no saying in Judaism, one life is like a universe. Save a life, you save the universe. Just one act can begin to change a life and begin to change the universe. So never forget that you can make a difference. Never forget that the person who is not like us is still a person like us. All it takes is to refuse ever to be less than you, to take a stand, and you will make a difference.